2, 1. We are live, everybody.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Beauty. I just had some scotch. That's a brand new opening David did.
I like the new opening titles. Cheers. Hello, everyone.
Cheers. And here, everyone, cheers. This is a Macallan. I'm a Macallan score. What can I tell you? 25. So cheers to the Macallan people. I was going to do a Glen Fargus 40, but
3 weeks ago.
Oh, look at that. I know the plantation because you like slavery. I got it. Yeah. And this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, I'm going to smoke a New World cigar that Riz doesn't like, but it's okay. It's an Opus X by the Fuentes. It's a beautiful cigar, well constructed. Bands are gorgeous. However, to his point, not a lot of flavor, but it's a nice smoke. So, you know.
Yeah, you blow a lot of smoke, you get good construction, you get a little bit of a hit. I guess that sometimes that's what you want, actually, to be very honest with you. To be fair, I think very US market kind of cigar.
It is very, yeah. It is very.
I had, if you don't, well, actually, I'm smoking K. Dorsey number 54. I've got a cigar on a stick.
It's a very small. It's a new kind of a cigar. It's called a cigar on a stick. So for you people that are new cigar smokers, you want to try the cigar on a stick. No,
I've been smoking a little bit before the program.
A little.
K. Dorsey 54 Habanos cigar. Obviously, I want to share something with you, Stephen. I smoked a cigar 2 nights ago with one of the prettiest bands I've ever seen on a cigar. This is basically a Dominican cigar.
Right.
It's a luxury brand, Mirafel.
Okay. Ooh, look at pretty.
It is pretty.
Yeah.
That's
here. Let's do we'll do a close up of that one. Look at that, everybody. Wow.
It actually says Mirafel in the 9 square.
Okay.
That's a pretty band. So big it up to them. I smoked in, I guess, the premier cigar sampling lounge in London, number 6 Cavendish. That's not a shout out. That's just where I smoked it.
Okay.
You want to see that? Go to my Instagram, elizard.habanos, which is somewhere there.
He's giving you the middle finger, everybody, but it's okay because he loves you. I love it. Actually, the other thing we do is sometimes we put up shorts, so you can see it in shorts, and then also, if I'm not mistaken, on our Instagram as well, we put up your stuff. So you get
I know that's really kind of you. We're going through this cigar-y, Habanos-y kind of phase, and I hope your viewers are enjoying that. And if you're enjoying this video as well, like and subscribe. And if you feel like dropping us really nasty comments, do that too, because Stephen replies to everything.
No, address him to David. So anytime I say something controversial on all the shows, I go, yeah, address him to David. He'll read it.
I see you brought your naughty game today. I brought the game too. How did it light up? What did you get? It's a nice. It
took a little bit. The draw's a little tough, but I'm pinching it to soften the middle, and now the draw's a little better, and it'll be the usual Opus X Fuentes. Is it worth
good outdoor smoke? Because you want lots of smoke going everywhere. You want people to see you. You want your neighbors to wonder what's going on at 6 o'clock in the morning.
My neighbors know what goes on at 6 o'clock in the morning. We're good. So but no, it's a good. I always have liked the Fuentes brand, and not just their Opus X. They have a nice array of cigars. So when I first started to smoke many thousands of years ago, I would, it was, if I couldn't get a Cuban, I would smoke the Fuentes, and Fuentes to me is like a CIO Brazilian. It's never a bad smoke. It's like a Davidoff. There's never a bad smoke for the new world and for the old world.
It's a homogenous product. It's always going to be the same every time.
And that's what you pay. Listen, for $35 or whatever they charge for a stick, that's what you want.
Did you say shtick?
Sorry, cigar, stogie. So, listen, at the end of the day, I'm just a New York Jew. So for the people that are trying to get this,
I want you to stay close to your roots.
Right.
I want to thank you for something. I want to thank you for. So this is recorded. Stephen very kindly gave me a pass or a buy. I was the day of recording. I was walking around the London Concourse, which is in central London, a huge supercar, classic car show. And whilst all my heart was in it to do the recording from there, I was surrounded by the best exotica there is. And Stephen said, you know what, Reza, enjoy. We'll post lots of videos. We'll record this at a later date. So here I am. But you missed out on 3 of my favorite cars. One was not there. I think it arrived the next day.
Okay.
I want you to tell me if you had these 3 cars, and I'm always I'm always circulating.
Okay.
The Ferrari F40.
Beauty.
The Ferrari F50.
Okay.
Or the Ferrari Enzo. If you had your pick, which one? I think that's, for me, that's the most controversial question in the last 2 days.
So I don't like the F50 at all. I just think it's trash. So the people will, I know. I actually, out of all the cars, if the F40 and the Enzo, I'd probably lean Enzo, but I'd go for the LaFerrari. And I'd go for the LaFerrari convertible.
You're a modern man. Modern.
Yeah. I like the LaFerrari convertible. Yeah, that's me.
Well, there we have it. You're a bit of a contrarian. I give you a choice of 3, so you say, forget the 3 that you gave me a choice for. I will go for the 4th one. And that says more about your character than your choice of do-gooders will ever tell. Okay.
Yes.
So in this exchange that we're constantly having, we're psychoanalyzing each other as adversaries to work out how our cigar smoke will go in person.
There you go. I think we'll probably start at noon and end at noon the next day.
We'll talk only about non-controversial topics. Trump.
Yes, we're only talking about Trump the whole time we're together. Yes. So and we talk off air, everybody. So he knows that I am what I am. And for the people that watch me on like Lost Dollar Business Club or the other things, they know I'm pretty much, this doesn't change anything. It's just we talk about cigars and goofy things, which is easy. But you were on Adam on the Eve last week. So you had a good week.
To your health for that, for letting me spill into another program. Thank you. You mentioned it. I don't know if you ever put the links up. Put a link up to that. We do. What that was about.
Yeah, Adam on the Eve was an interesting show. We had a good time with that one. So yeah, so you are more than welcome to join on it. As we tell all our hosts on all our shows, you are more than welcome to join on any show, anytime, because that's how everybody gets to know the different hosts. So, and when you have as many shows as we do on this channel, and I'm not on every show, thank God, then we're good. But there was a funny show last night called Social Intercourse, which has 2 girls, Vicky and Rachel, are our hosts there. And they were talking about AI dating boyfriends. If you have an AI robot or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And I started to laugh. And after hearing the show, I see why they would need AI boyfriends. So it was just a funny show last night. I was just laughing the whole time I was listening to them, because I'm thinking to myself, I could see why you need AI boyfriends and you can't have a human one. So, it's one of those kind of like. So
I know you're not afraid to say what's going on in your brain.
That's one of my friends used to say. He says, when you say it, have you thought it? I'm like, listen, I have played Go before I say it. I know the outcome. We're good.
It's just the processing power is faster. I'm able to process it quicker. Yeah. There you go. And I can say it quicker.
Yeah. It's good that way. It's good to be me. Or as Mel Brooks would say, it's good to be the king. So there you go.
Sir?
Yes.
Round 1.
Dun, 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 dun.
We are talking do-gooders that we may wish to have for dinner and cigars.
Okay.
The outline was last week. We decided. I think we had criminals last week.
Yes, we had criminals, which was actually acted very well.
In the opposite direction, people who do good or perceive to do good or want to do good.
Yes.
Ultimately, there must be a connecting theme, and people that we would want to have at our dinner table. Maybe we want to ask them questions. Maybe we want to smoke a cigar with them. Maybe we want to have a rant with them. Yes. I'll go first this week.
Please, I want you to go. I want you to go first.
So this one, even though I suggested the topic, I have great difficulty nailing down people for my dinners, because I think the spread is really wide. I have to get really, really selective.
Yep.
I went for a do-gooder that came to mind because I have read a lot of the books that he's written.
Okay.
He lived in a time of great poverty, and so this is someone who a non-fiction, real life do-gooder.
Okay.
He lived maybe about 150-ish years ago.
Okay.
And one of the most well-known authors of his time and of now, who was obsessed with poverty, the alleviation of poverty, the alleviation of suffering during the time when Britain was going through this industrial revolution.
Right.
And he wrote books with a great deal of sympathy towards impoverished people, and he would highlight them in both fiction, and he was a very spiritual kind of person.
Right.
He had his faults, but generally he came to my mind first.
Okay.
Charles Dickens.
Oh, Chucky. Okay.
Charles Dickens, and through his writings, I always felt I watched movies based on Charles Dickens movies when I was a kid. Great Expectations, A Christmas Carol. They were always about finding yourself again, struggling, striving through poverty, the gap between the very rich and the very poor. And he had those Victorian values of perhaps even conservative values of all of society should one way or another combine together and help each other. I really enjoyed that. Those are the themes I took away. And I found that this person was do-gooding through his own creative works, not necessarily through financial charity. What is very hard to know sometimes whether someone is a very charitable person, but his writings were very, very charitable as far as I could see. And he came to mind first, even when I mentioned this topic last week. I got a little bit serious about it. I thought, right, really, who do I want around the table? Charles Dickens is a kind of creative, spiritual. I consider myself slightly creative. Right. And there was some sort of resonance with that. And the word resonance starts with Reza, which is my name.
Right. I know.
I had to throw that in somewhere.
Right.
My opening gambit is Charles Dickens. Not the most obvious of do-gooders, but I thought that in his own way, that's what he was doing. And I would like to have a cigar with him and talk about Victorian London, which is another one of my obsessive topics.
Right.
A time when, there is, because I grew up watching, these movies and reading Charles Dickens books, I had this kind of sort of like, would love to have seen that period of time. So there you go, Charles Dickens.
Very nice. That's going to be a toughie. Charles Dickens. All right. I like it. Chucky wrote some good books. I like it.
Chucky wrote some good books.
And then more porridge, please, from this, from
Lisa, may I have some more?
Well, that's right. I know. I have a lot of girls when I date them say the same thing. But anyway, so let's think through that. So people are like, what? Just want to see if you're listening on the podcast. I have a list. So some of mine are going to be just honorable mentions, and then others are like real people. And this is going to be very tough. So my idea of a do-gooder is probably a lot different than most people than do-gooding. So what I did is I picked people that changed the world by doing a good deed. So I did it that way. So the first person I came up with was Rosa Parks.
You know what? There is. That's really cool. That's very, very cool. That's a cool, very, very.
I don't know if she smoked cigars and drank Scotch, but she is someone I'd want to sit and talk with. And
maybe her first cigar would be with you.
With us, of course. And I would say to her, Miss Parks, of course, tell me what was going through your mind. And I know she did interviews, and she's already told everybody, when they said you have to move to the back of the bus. And you were like, no. I'm like, for the kids out there, Rosa Parks, during segregation here in the States, when sitting on a bus there's a white section and a black section. And I don't know if they called it black or Negro back then. Doesn't matter. And she sat in the front where the whites would sit. And
Colored.
a white
I
lady
think it was
wanted her
colored. It was called the
colored.
colored. Yeah.
And a person told her to move, and she was like, no. And to
She
her,
used the most powerful word in the English language.
that's true.
No.
Yep. So kudos to Miss Parks. And I know she's passed, so we can't really have dinner with her, but I would love to. But yeah, so she is someone I say she did good because she did good for a whole bunch of reasons. She stood up for what was right, which is always being good. And she moved for lack of a better term, movement forward. And because of Rosa Parks, a lot of these people now that think and I don't mean just black people, I mean every person of every color and every sexual orientation who think you're entitled, a lot of what you owe is to Miss Parks. And there you go. Miss Rosa Parks.
I'm going to pull a bit of a stunt right now.
Okay.
Before I forget it. You've just given me the theme for next week.
Of course I have. What's the theme for next week?
Fighters.
Fighters. Ooh.
However you interpret that.
All right.
However you interpret that. Fighters.
Can we play
I've been dying to get my man of the moment into one of these, and I haven't mentioned my man.
It's not going to be Jake Paul or Mike Tyson, is it? The fight that's not happening.
I am not going to share it right now, but I've been aching. The person that apart from my own father, that I idolize, next week, that person will feature.
Fighters. Okay. And so it can be a fighter, or it can be somebody that fought for something.
Resistance fighter.
Oh.
A firefighter.
I got person.
Who's
a firefighter?
It can be a firefighter.
All right, then because you said firefighter, I know exactly who I'm going to pick as my first fighter. Steve
Buscemi.
Yes, Steve Buscemi, right. I love Steven, but you're getting close. You're very close to who I'm going to pick as my first fighter. So
that was round one.
Round two. Rosa Parks and Charles Dickinson
versus a very existential round one. Yeah. Charles Dickens. For the next one, I want a do-gooder who basically I will do the talking, and this person will have to listen.
Ooh. So an Asian girl.
We're in the right gender department.
Okay. Oh, it's a girl. Okay. Good.
Now, this person, I believe, needs a talking to.
Oh, is it that little Swedish chick that needs to be slapped around? That 16-year-old idiot?
Yes, okay. It is.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I checked there. After that build-up, we got it wrong. It is Greta Thunberg. I'd like to give her a piece of my mind. Thank you very much. I'd ask her, she's not going to smoke with me. I'll be smoking. Right. That's a 4-cigar evening.
And if you're listening, Greta, I mean no disrespect to you, but you're an idiot. Nobody really cares what you have to say. It was cute that you did it, but nobody cares. And you now are inconsequential, and you are a footnote, not even that, in the history of the planet.
I kind of slightly disagree with you. From this perspective. I think she, at a very young age, got caught up in this empowerment thing.
Okay.
It's a fucking good brand, by the way. It's a fucking good brand. A brand in the sense that she has a voice. Everyone has a voice. She has a voice. She's entitled to say what she wants.
Yeah,
She's entitled to project. Yeah. I got the impression always she was projecting on behalf of others, and was made a little bit of a mascot, if you like. It's a very mascot-y kind of thing. Having said that, there is a great deal of, at a young age, a great deal of arrogance in the projection of that. That's the part I don't enjoy. Right. This sort of, I know everything, I'm entitled to everything, I'm entitled to inherit the world. We all have our role to play in the world, and you have your role to play, and that's fine. It's the looking down upon others.
Right.
And the looking down upon others whose shoulders you've stood upon to be able to be in that position to say things like that. And perhaps that will come with maturity. But the reason I would want someone like that at my table is, for a change, I'd like to do the talking. please.
Yeah, I read stuff about her in the Financial Times and the Journal and the New York Times and all this other crap. And she went to Davos and took a private jet and all this crap. And I'm like, listen, Two-Face, I don't really care what you have to say because I've been saving the planet since I'm 6 and nobody cares. And if we had Instagram and TikTok and all that crap when I was a kid, I'm sure I could have been you. But what I have a problem is with, you get in front of the UN and you talk a bunch of crap, and don't take this the wrong way, but nobody gives a shit, right? Corporate America or corporate any country does not care. The world is run on money and power. And you, my dear, have no money, and you do now because of this. You have no money and no power. And if you have neither, nothing changes. And
Or neither.
Or neither. Sure, if you want to be correct English. And so, yeah, sure, very British. I have neither.
Harassment or harassment?
Harassment. I'm
Garage
a New York Jew, and everything is going to be
or garage.
Garage. So, you know, we're going to tell you. So, but yeah, so she now, if you want to talk about on that realm, and this isn't one of my things, I would say you're looking then at the leaders of the UAE, even Saudi Arabia. Aramco, who's the largest oil company in the world, is doing more in green than anybody. As so is the UAE trying to come up with different technology. So if you want to look at things like that, okay, I would listen to them more than I'm listening to some 16, 17, 18-year-old chick that has no friggin' clue, that's never done anything in her life. So I have a problem. I think, like, once again, children should be seen and not heard. And then when you have experience, you can come to me, unless you're the smartest 16-year-old on the planet. When I mean that, I mean you're smarter than Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, and all these other people. I want to listen to you because
prodigy level.
Yeah, but she's not. You had good PR. You did some shit. Okay, your time has passed. You're like a Kardashian. Go away. There you go.
Which is why I would like. Which is why I would like to
have a dinner.
Have this young lady at the dinner table. Perhaps we would exchange ideas.
Yeah, I think just duct tape, put her in the corner is just as good. But that's just me. So that's
what I meant. That's I said it in a polite way. That's exactly what I meant.
We're gonna exchange ideas. We're duct taping you, sticking you in the corner. You don't worry about it. So there you go. I love it. Greta, we're not kidding. Anyway, so I'll stop it. She's gonna make somebody a wonderful
husband. Dare you? How dare you? Sorry, I got carried away.
Here's the best part. We said something on a show a few weeks ago, and someone said they're going to cancel you. I go, I don't know if you realize this, but we own the network. No one's canceling us. We're good.
Oh, by the way, would you like to know how my cigar is going?
Please. The one that's cigar on a stick. Club Havana Club. Look at you, Mr.
It's smoking away in the ashtray. I'm kind of done a bit early today.
I see that. I'm not. Look at mine. Mine's just beauty. Look at this Fuentes. Listen, Fuentes. Anytime you want to send some Opus X this way, we'll do reviews. Maybe. Anyway, but very good. Listen, I'm a whore. I paid product placement is all we do. So anyway, so Greta's interesting. I don't think she holds a candle to Charles, or I like to call him Chucky, or Miss Parks. So, but Greta's an interesting choice.
No, but it's still the do-gooder. It's still the do-gooder. That it fits the. I'm losing.
Well, I'm sure.
Criteria.
I'm sure if I was a Nazi in the 30s, I would think Hitler was a do-gooder too. But I wasn't, and I don't. So the next do-gooder I have.
Bring it on.
Oh, I am going to. Madame Curie. If it wasn't for Madame Curie, you'd have
Nobel Prize winner.
Nobel Prize winner. And without her discoveries, we'd have no X-rays.
Again.
There you go. Yes, we'd have none of that. We'd have no X-Men.
We'd have no Opus X-rays.
No Opus X. Oh, how apropos that we're smoking an Opus X this morning. So anyway, yes. So Madame Curie, I thought would be a good do-gooder.
Very, very. You've picked very cool people. You've picked people who I think were not out to do good. It was in their nature to do good.
That I agree with.
They were they are heroes.
Yeah.
but they didn't set out to be heroes necessarily, which makes their status even more elevated, in my opinion. That's I think that's really very cool. Your first one was, I think even in round two, you beat me in round one, and I think you beat me in round two as well.
Well, and just so we're clear, it's not so much to beat you; it's to
No,
destroy.
it is.
It's to destroy you. Let's not kid ourselves. So no, it's more like you say when we do this, like when you say fighters and you see, to me, it's like, okay, so who really interests me? That, like, if you and I were like, and we can pick anybody dead or alive, fiction, nonfiction, who do I really want to spend, whether it's 10 minutes with or 10 hours with? Who do I really want to speak to and just like tell me, like, boom. And so that I look for the people that would keep me on the edge of my seat for the dinner or the lunch, because if you have dinner with people, even if you're smoking cigars with the mates and in the cigar places, Cavendish or Tom Tom or wherever, shout out to all you guys. If someone's boring, they're just boring, and I'm figuring these people are not boring. I mean, they may be because they're so out there, but just to be with them would just be cool for the evening, so to speak.
Can I do some interesting honorable mentions, or at least one?
Of course.
Now, I on purpose in these discussions try to choose people that there's a higher than average chance that the listeners would already know. Right. I'm going to shout out one person from my homeland, my country of birth, Pakistan.
Sure.
A guy who passed away a few years ago. A guy called Abdul Sattar Eidi.
Okay.
No, if you're Pakistani, there's no way you won't know about him.
Right.
It's unlikely you would know him anywhere else in the world. A man who basically committed his whole life to charity, his whole life and wealth to charity, created the largest private ambulance service in the whole world.
I've read about him. Okay.
And he created an ambulance service because in Pakistan 40, 50 years ago, health service system was very private, very relatively non-existent. He started with one ambulance, then he had a whole fleet of ambulances, and was then, to this day, known as the creator of the largest charitable ambulance. Well, it's the largest private ambulance service in the world, but it's also the largest private charitable ambulance service in the world. And I wanted to mention him because in my culture, in my nation of birth, Pakistan, he's revered. He's idolized, not because he wanted anything for himself. I hope maybe he wanted a sort of a place in heaven, if you feel like it. But this is a very, very noteworthy and notable mention as far as I'm concerned. So people won't know about him. Abdul Sattar Eidi. And there is no way I could get through this conversation without mentioning him. So I've mentioned him now.
Very good. Very cool. I have a couple. Let me give you an honorable mention. This is going to be controversial. I have Bill Gates. Even though I don't like Bill personally because he hung out with Epstein and, had sex. Well, I can't go into that. Anyway, but the fact that he paid for immunization in Africa, then polio or whatever he was doing, I give him credit for that. You know what I mean? So I give him credit for that.
I think him along with Warren Buffett. I mean, I believe that
Buffett. I don't know what Buffett does other than Buffett just thinks he's the greatest thing that walks the earth, and I'm like, yeah, you got lucky 50 years ago.
Buffett is very old school, but I think Buffett is sort of a bridge between investors who lived 100, 150 years, because Warren Buffett's mentor was a guy called Benjamin Graham.
Okay.
Who wrote the book, The Intelligent Investor.
Right.
Which was all about investing in worth industries of real value, as opposed to speculative value, as opposed to But my understanding was that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are very, very close buddies, and both of them maybe 30 plus years ago, I think they made very open pledges that by the time they died, they will have given away all their wealth.
Bullshit.
No, these are the pledges.
I know the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag crap. I got that, but yeah, that's bullshit. Like I remember Bill Gates in an interview says he's not going to give his kids any money, and I think he gave his daughter, I don't know, whatever he gave her, and she's got like a $50 million apartment and blah blah. I'm like, yeah, you didn't give her any money. Sure, you did. So
Yeah, but by comparative standards, that's not really. $50 million is what he drops in a day.
No, I understand that. I'm okay with that. But he was like, he was going to see it. One of the interviews, like, I'm going to make my kids make it. I'm not going to give them any money. I'm just going to pay for their college or whatever, their university. And then, like, you know, there was reading an article a couple months ago. And he's like, oh, yeah, Bill gave his daughter like $100 million. I'm like, what? I'm not going to give my kids any money. So I don't, these pledges of these billionaires, there's only been one billionaire. He was on 60 Minutes, read an article about him the other day in a paper. There's only been one billionaire that has truly given away all his wealth to help underprivileged and poor and whatever. And his name escapes me. I apologize, but he's still alive.
I know who you might be talking about, and also the name escapes me. He's someone sort of like very under the radar.
And his daughter was on 60 Minutes when he did it, and she was like, "That's what my dad wanted to do. That's what my dad did." We were like, "Dad, are you sure?" And he's like, "What am I going to do with all this money?" And I guess he gave his kids whatever he gave them, but the rest of his, I think we'll say he was worth like say $5 billion. Let's say he took $1 billion and split it among the kids. He kept a few million for himself and gave the other, and he's still doing it, giving the other, let's say $5 billion and change away to whoever. I mean, charities and whatnot. I can't remember his name. Yeah.
Can I, on that note, on billionaires who give away their money, can I give one more honorable mention?
Please.
Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump, one of my favorite discombobulators. As far as I know, very charitable human being with
girls between 18 and 24.
With real ethics, because I remember watching interview with him in the 80s, and he came across as to be very honest, with a really nice fellow.
Wow.
Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke.
Just cheats on his wife.
There are legends about Donald Trump helping
grabbing pussy. Yeah, sure.
And
if you're a Scandinavian model, he'll help you out.
I'll say something to you. I enjoy very much the fact that this one rattles you.
It doesn't.
I do enjoy it. You know what? I see you leaning back in your chair every single time. And this is the psychological analysis. When you are slightly agitated, you lean back.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a moment, you have this internal deep breath. Honestly, and I say this without any irony. You know, I say this. I'm younger than you. Far be it from me to teach you anything at all. But the statement I'll make is: very good people can do very bad things. Very bad people can do very good things. I reckon Donald Trump is in camp 2. I think Donald Trump is a secret do-gooder and an all-round nice fellow.
Sure. And Hitler loved the Jews. So let's go.
No.
Oh, no. There's no difference.
Can't mention in the same sentence.
Yeah, we can. This is a guy who said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't get convicted. Probably true.
What he was saying is the breakdown of law is so ridiculous that you could get away with doing stupid things. I think that's what
apparently he didn't, because he got convicted on all 34 counts of his charges in New York City. So he's now a felon.
Badge of honor.
There you go.
Badge of honor when the authorities really want your skin.
Well,
if I was a billionaire, I'd want to do that to the system as well. I'd want to do that to the system, just as you would too.
I don't mind doing that to the system. However, there is a point, like if I'm going to run for president, like I know my skeletons. My skeletons fill many universes, and I'm good with that. And I know what my skeletons are. And if I get caught, instead of being a pussy and going, why is that fair? I'm going to be like, no, I have the biggest you-know-what in the room. I did it. Now shut the fuck up. Let's go forward.
That is a commendable. You know what? I rate you.
There you go.
Round
And
3.
I've gotten in trouble before for things, whether young or old. And instead of making excuses and coming up with some whiny bitch stuff, like, it's not fair.
No. He doesn't cry. He doesn't do the cry.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I did it. I fucked up. My responsibility.
Come get me. Come get me. Come get me.
It's not come get me. It's like, whatever the punishment is, I'll just take it. And I was that way since I was a kid, and I'm that way in my adulthood. And I'm like, if I screw up, I'm like, it's me.
What you just said just now is a beautiful thing. I'm salute to you.
Thank you. But no, it's very serious. I mean, like at the end of the day, if you screw up, there's no reason to make an excuse. It's okay. You fucked up. Who cares? You gave money to a porn star. Who gives a shit? Listen, your wife doesn't give you a blowjob. That's not my problem. If your wife doesn't put out, not my problem. You need to get a little something on the side. Fine. Just admit it. Say it point blank. Like, she's a hot chick.
I think by paying out, he was admitting it. He just doesn't want to admit it to the authorities. That's all. He'll admit it to everyone, but no one else.
You know what? Here's what's really funny.
Have him on. Do you think the team will come on?
The Orange Man? We say tongue in cheek on Lost Dollar Business Club about Musk. He doesn't have the balls to come on that show. I would love to have Mr. Trump come on the show. Unfortunately, I don't think.
Thanks for watching.
Yes, he watches us like he watches Fox News. But the thing with Mr. Trump, or I like to call him Donnie, I don't think would come on because we're not going to ask softball questions. We're going to ask real questions. And if he starts going off,
he's got a fan here.
He does. He has a fan over in the UK. Sure, not here. But I mean, I'd be like, dude, we're going to ask you real questions, and you don't get to do your rhetoric. You can go off for 20 minutes. I don't give a shit. It's good television, so to speak. But I want to ask you real questions, though. I want to know real things, and some of them will be kind of like, tell us about the past. Some of them will be like the future, like, what do you think? But the biggest thing is going to be like, so tell me why. Like, you did it. Whether you want to admit it or not, you did it, right? Everybody knows you did it. But why didn't you just man up? Because you call everybody else a bunch of pussies and you want to be like this tough New Yorker, but you're hiding under your desk, so to speak. And it's like, I'm a New Yorker. Be a New Yorker, stand up. It's okay to say you fucked up. I know you don't think it is, but if you said that, not that I would respect you more or less, it's just that I would have a different type of respect for you. Instead of looking at you like, what the fuck? You're a big 80-year-old pussy that wants to just become an autocrat for the U.S. And the last election is going to be this year for us. I don't get it. So, yeah, I would love him to come on. I don't think his team will let him come on. So I have a feeling we'll never see Mr. Trump on any of our shows. If we do, that would be awesome.
Mr. Trump, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
We never know.
Round 3?
Round 3. Donnie Trump isn't on my round 3, by the way. So
I was gonna put him on as round 3.
Oh my God, I knew you would.
But my honorable mention has been longer than the actual guess. The final one, I really had to think hard about this one because I wanted to have someone who would smoke a cigar with me.
Okay.
I wanted to have someone who brings weight to the table.
Uh-oh.
Could be slightly controversial in terms of do-gooding, but he is undoubtedly a do-gooder.
Okay.
Apart from the fact that he may not have any choice about it, apart from that fact, that's what makes it slightly controversial. King Charles.
Which one? The third. Are you talking about the guy with the ears?
We all have them.
No, not this guy. This guy has ears like he
I'm
makes
talking
gumbo.
about the current king of Great Britain.
Chucky. Another Chucky. You're into the Chucky.
Another Chucky. Two Charles.
All right, so tell us why this Chucky.
Now, I do admire this man for all the failings. There's one part of him that I don't admire, but
his ears.
We'll stay on topic.
Okay.
Sorry,
I said his ears.
I think that this man is if he was just if he wasn't a royal and he was just a rich person who found himself in this position, I think he'd be even a nicer person.
Really? Okay.
I think so. I think he's got a very, I'm going to use a word, he's got a classy disposition, and why wouldn't he? He's the King of England and Great Britain.
Right. Or he's the
And
Queen.
Northern Ireland.
Sure.
I think he would be, first of all, I think he'd be excellent cigar and dinner and drinks company.
I agree with that.
Let's just get that out of the way.
I agree 100%.
I think he fulfills that. Buckets and spades all day long. I think as a dinner guest, I mean, what a dinner guest. But I've always liked the fact that instead of just arsing about in Monaco and in Paris and, you know, in all the Playboy hotspots around the world, the guy has well, it used to be the Prince Charles Trust, but he's a king. The guy has his fingers in most charities.
I was going to say women, but anyway, okay, go ahead.
Around the UK.
Very nice.
I find him very intelligent, very holistic individual that I think even possibly one could have a reasonable discussion with all his airs and graces. One could have a reasonable discussion about doing good, and whether it's about the environment, whether it's about people, whether it's about world religions and peace and harmony. He, at the very least, projects a very strong, consistent line on these things. And some things, really, quite frankly, he's been ahead of the game on. I mean, you know, he was talking to vegetables 30, 40 years ago and was eating organic stuff long before all these things became fashionable.
Right.
And so, given that, you know, given in contrast, you've got people like Greta Thunberg, who's just, you know, who've only just come. This guy's been around for a long time saying these things and criticizing government heads, even his own government, about things that they're doing, and he stays silent perhaps on overly controversial stuff. I like him. I think very genuinely this guy is there for good reason. And he's, honestly, I say this, I'm not necessarily a fan of royalty, even though I've had the Queen on in the past and today the King. I think if you want royalty, that's what you want as royalty, to be very honest with you. That also may consist of a great marketing campaign that has lasted the last 150 years, which must be one of the best markets. But the end product, the end person, as much as I can understand him from the media, and last year I saw him in person with Queen Camilla in Covent Garden. He's the guy exudes kingliness.
I exude kingliness. I like that.
He exudes it. I mean, you know, you think of King, you think King Charles, and I think he'll go down in history in the right way. And certainly, I would want him at my dinner table as a do-gooder.
And I would put as honorable mention Diana, because Diana was the one also that went around the world and did a whole bunch of cool stuff too when she was the princess, or the princess of. So I think she did very good too. So she should get honorable mention.
I think she was more of a media savvy rebel.
Okay,
that's my impression. That's my impression of her.
Right.
Living in this country, certainly.
Yeah. Well, then we got to get Chuck on, and Chuck's got to tell us.
Good luck. I think there's more chance of the Donald.
Trump. Of the Trump coming on?
Mr. Trump.
Mr. Trump. Yes, we want. Listen, just call what everybody in New York, Donnie, come on. Let's go, Donnie. We don't want one of your sons because they're not too clever. But you, Donnie, we take. And then your daughter, no, just you. We just want the Donnie. Actually, you know who I want to interview? I want to interview his wife. That would be fun.
That would be a revelation.
That would be awesome. I'm sure she would last about 30 seconds. You go, I have to go now. You're like, no problem.
I think she'll come on, make a statement, and then leave.
Thank you for inviting me, but this is all I can do. I've seen your show. There's no way I can answer any of your questions.
My brother,
Yeah.
I only have one brother. I only have one
Okay.
sibling. My
Right.
brother's initials are
Yes.
MAGA.
Wow.
So
Aren't you lucky?
I'd love Mr. Trump to suggest that Reza, why don't you take one of these caps, which I could get on Amazon anyway,
and give to your brother.
and I'll send it to my brother.
I don't know why your brother is not a spokesperson for Trump, because with those initials, he was born with the initials.
He was born with the initials.
There you go. That's perfect. Oh my God, poor guy. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, this will be interesting. So some quick honorable mentions before I get into my last.
Yes.
I had Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee is an honorable mention. He did a lot.
As a do-gooder.
As a do-gooder, because his philosophies were do good, improve yourself. And if you read some of his stuff and listen to his interviews, it's all about doing good and being a better person. Leonardo da Vinci, I thought, was a good do-gooder with some of his inventions and what he did and for mankind. I, of course, had Albert Einstein, because without Albert Einstein, I can't have, intergalactic travel and go hang out with the lizard people on Pluto. So we got to give kudos to Albert. So, and I think Albert would be just fun to hang out with. Yep. Cheers to Albert. So I think Albert would be fun. But my do-gooder is somebody who I brought up many times on the show. And because I just want to hang out with this guy, and I'm very upset that he's passed away. So, but if we could bring him back, it would be Winston Churchill. The ultimate do-gooder. Whether
you can't pick Winston Churchill. I'm sorry, that goes against the rules of this thing.
Wait,
Winston Churchill, you've had on as a guest before.
I've had Winston Churchill on about 12 times before. Okay, fine. Then if I have to...
Then you're now going to have to go to your reserve list.
Albert Einstein. Okay, then Albert Einstein then would be... Winston gets an honorable mention. Albert Einstein would be my do-gooder. Because Albert Einstein was into world peace.
Most of the scientists in the last 150, 200 years that we know of through media, I mean, wow, they weren't necessarily doing these for personal, for their name. They were really chasing, knowledge.
Yeah, they were chasing to make the world a better place and technologically advance us. That's what I'm saying. Like Leonardo da Vinci, his stuff is fascinating. Like if you read I read a book about Leonardo da Vinci, and I've joked about this before. It's 750 pages.
Walter Isaacson
as well, but no.
Walter Isaacson's book on Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, but he's not the one who wrote this one. There's another guy who wrote about da Vinci. Yeah, and it's 750 pages. And the first 500 pages talks about pen and brushstrokes on his artwork, about how deep he would push and how he would do this and how he would do that. And then the last 250 gets into other things. But I was fascinated because, never thought of that. And it'd be like when we measured it, it was like 1 millimeter. This was 3 millimeters. And he did this and he did. I'm like, well, that's interesting. So
the commonality between Leonardo da Vinci and Bruce Lee. Here's one I'm pulling out of midair.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Lee's philosophy was to be like water, to take on the shape of the vessel.
Correct.
Leonardo da Vinci's study almost exclusively was of water.
Was of the vessel.
No, not of the vessel, of water, the flow of water over various objects in various situations, and his brushstrokes. So if you look at many of his paintings, the features that he paints the best are water.
Yeah.
And the study of water, it is what it is. But which one did you pick? You picked Einstein, not Da Vinci.
I said because you wouldn't. But I think because Albert Einstein did. It's very tough between Albert Einstein and Leonardo. I think Leonardo da Vinci would be fascinating to sit with, but I want to have a cigar and a Scotch with Albert because I think Albert had a wild personality.
I would love to.
In a minute.
I'd love to talk. I mean, I wouldn't be able to talk science in front of Einstein. Could you possibly? And he would say, "Nine. This is not how it is done. It is done this way."
That's right. Just to hear him pontificate about whatever, I'd be like, dude, I'm going to sit here and look pretty. You just go.
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I had this. I would have loved to have lived about 120, 130 years ago, to be honest with you. So the sort of the impressionist time and the time
Yes.
the post-impressionist scientists. And what a time we really, I mean, we missed, but I don't know about you, but I missed out on that time. If I'd lived in it.
I unfortunately, as my friends tell me, I was born like 250,000 years too late. So, but
You're a
I think
history. You're a history.
I do like my history. But see, I also like going into like the forbidden part of the history where it talks about the Anunnaki and maybe we're not what we think we are and where we come from and the different element. So I like all that as well because it fascinates me that we think as a species that we're it because we're the dumbest thing probably in the universe. And to me, it's kind of like, no, there's more. But to me, it's like.
Do you think that, honestly, you just made a statement, very interesting statement.
Sure.
Where do you think we are in terms of human development? Are we already have we peaked and are we going down? Or are we going up and we don't realize it?
I think here's what happens. I have a friend who used to say, like always creates like. So you sometimes just have a hypothesis that we're living in a game or a matrix, if you will, like a Sims. Other scientists say that we're a creation. So let's just go back. There's a guy named Bill Carson that's, is revealing these ancient texts that are at the University of London. You can read them online. And they're talking about a race that came and they did this and they did that and blah, blah, blah. So what I think that we are like on a scale to 1 to 10 for where we are throughout the universe. We're not even on the scale. I think that we are this. Then if you look at the UFOs that can go, Mach 10 and then stop on a dime and make a right turn and do something else, they're the next level. I think there's a level above that. And then I think there's a level that's just pure energy. And I'm sure I'm missing different levels. And I think there's multidimensional. And I think if you believe in the CIA's Gateway Project, which talks about the absolute, and if you read all the ancient texts, they talk about the absolute as well. So if you believe in all that and the multidimensional, I think we are, I think this is like a proving ground, like you learn here. And then when you go back to the absolute, you have a choice to come back here. Why I wouldn't, well, I have no clue why. Or you can go and do something else. So I think it's one of those things. So to me, I'm just fascinated. But I've always asked this, the scientists, religious people, and everybody. If you read the ancient texts from 300,000 years ago, it'll talk about when they came to Earth and they were mining this and doing that the gods with an S, would be very upset with them because they tinkered with things. So it always goes back to who is the gods. Like I always want to know, like I just say on a scale to 1 to 10 of creation, we're at 3. That means there was a 2 and a 1, and who's the 0? So if you're a sim, right, the game sim, and I put artificial intelligence into you, and now all of a sudden you can start thinking. So are you going to start saying, well, how are we created? Well, we're your creator, right? So your Big Bang for you, if you will, if you believe in the Big Bang, is me just basically turning on my laptop. So for this, are we just a sim for somebody that just turned on their laptop and then our game is just played out?
What's your theory? 0 to 10. Where are we? You said 3.
I'm being generous at 3.
Where? Give me a number.
1.6.
I think we are at 0.1.
There you go.
I think same as you. Yeah. I think that there are intelligent beings that may have predated us.
Oh yeah.
And still exist.
Yep.
Who are at a level that is unimaginable to us.
Or imaginable as science fiction, but to the average person, it's like that can't exist.
Maybe you can hypothesize it, but you can't tangibly put your.
I'm fascinated as the Arctic melts. They keep finding stuff, and like the pyramids were free energy. Like people are proving that the pyramids were used for free energy, kind of like what Tesla.
The resonation of the pyramid to create energy, to create
free energy,
electromagnetic,
through the planet. Right, but through the planet. And the interesting part about that is there's pyramids all over the world. There's not just in Egypt where everybody thinks right there in South America, North America, Asia, you're everywhere. There's a pyramid. So they were doing free energy. So, and Tesla was trying to do that with the tower. And of course, JP Morgan was like, we can't make money on that. We can't do that. Got to make money. But I always say, just think, if Tesla was allowed to do his free energy, where would be today as a society? It would be utopia. It would be Shangri-La.
I personally think that this hypothesis, this is just dream science fiction stuff. We're limited. We have limiters built into us.
Yes, I agree with that. There's a scientist who said that if you look at
physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we have limiters built in.
I agree with that. I think whoever, is pulling the strings, so to speak, I think they're like, listen, you can only get this far. Now, the problem is we created AI. So I always say to someone, who's to say we're not just AI? And they're like, oh, no, we're not. We're this, we're that. And I go, well, think about it, though. If I create AI, and 10,000 years from now, AI is us. And that AI is going to be like, oh, no, we were created by whatever. So if it's history repeats.
But if we have been created, we are artificial intelligence.
Correct.
Been created.
Right.
If we've been created, we are
artificial intelligence.
The only difference is if there is a creator / creators. Let's get
right. Sure.
Even if they are creators, they could still be a creator.
Correct.
As Plato said, there's turtles all the way up and there's turtles all the way down.
Correct.
We can't tangibly or physically put our finger on that, right? We are AI, and anything we create, we are. So the grand illusion or the grand arrogance is to think that we are the most intelligent.
The most intelligent on this planet, and the most intelligent in the universe, or universes, or galaxies, wherever. We are insignificant cogs, and I don't care if you're worth $1 or $1 trillion. We are nothing. And until people realize that, we all need to come together. The planet's just going to get worse.
I'm very glad that you and I agree now on two topics. We agree on this in terms of origin of man, and we agree on Trump. And those are two harmonious aspects of our discussions that we can always carry through.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Again, we're sitting back in the chair, sort of like.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to be like Goebbels if Trump gets elected. They're going to reach out to us and go, "Listen, we need a propaganda guy." So
I want Trump on the show.
Listen,
I want the Donald.
You don't know. Donnie may come on. Donnie is Donnie. These people are going to be like, these guys they're out there. We should get on that show, Donnie, because they have an audience and it's global, and you can take over the world. So there you go.
Mr. Trump, I'll say the magic words. Citizen Kane, get on the show.
There you go. What is if he really showed up on the show? You would like.
That'd be just ridiculously amazing.
And here's the funny part.
Why should Piers Morgan have a monopoly on everything?
We should have it. I know, I agree. But here's what's
really monopoly. We can have a little bite of the cherry, can't we? We're allowed to have a little bite of the cherry.
Any politician can come on, but even Chucky the Prince, or Chuck E. Cheese, either one is fine.
Are you talking about King Charles?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the king with the ears. Yeah, or in America we have Chuck E. Cheese.
I'm a British subject.
Oh yes, I forgot. Excuse me.
I do have a passport with the royal crest on it.
I got your royal crest right here. But if Chucky, Donnie, any leader wants to come on our show, Putin. In fact, David on Lost Dollar Business Club actually sent a letter to Putin's press agent and asked him to come on the Lost Dollar Business Club, and that was like 6 months ago. I go, have you heard back? He goes, I haven't heard back. I'm like, probably not going to, Dave. He goes, you think? I go, you never know. So David's asked everyone to come on Lost Dollar just for fun. So if somebody like a Trump would show up on the Habanos Cigar Show, I would not tell any of the other hosts. We would do the interview, and I would just let it run on Saturday when it's supposed to. But then I would just send a message on the group chat that we all are in and say, oh, by the way, if you want to see Donald Trump on the Habanos Cigar Show, you could go. And of course, his people would promote it, and they can blow it up on whatever social media they want. But yeah, I think it would be an interesting interview because it's just a real question, like guys being guys. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to agree to this. He's just a cool dude. He's just a cool dude.
So stop it. He's not a cool dude. I want to interview his wife. That's all I can say. And Barron, his kid, I think it's his. because it looks just like him. I remember he was just like, and I mean this in the nicest way, Baron. I know you're watching because you send us messages all the time that we should put your dad on. Baron was like this when he was growing up, was this like little husky kid. And the other day I saw a picture of Baron. Baron's like 6'4", 6'5", it looks like, and just tall, like bean sprout. He's grown up to be basically a younger version of his dad. He looks exactly like his dad now.
Splendid fellow.
But you're killing me. You're just killing me.
You think I'm saying all these things to wind you up? I genuinely believe it. But if it happens to wind you up just a little bit of tension in the air, a bit of adrenaline that keeps life moving, you're going to find my soft spot sometime soon, and then you're going to be like,
oh no, but I'll do it. I'll do it when it's time. I'll do it on like a live broadcast or something.
Oh, a little bit of leg pulling between friends. There's no harm in that.
My friend, I think you know me well enough that at the end of the day, don't give a flying, you know what, and it's just all having a good time. So, and before we go, I want to thank David for doing graphics. And if you haven't seen the ending graphics, apparently they're brand new as well. I know you're going to watch this when it comes out on YouTube, and you can watch the big thing. But yeah, so David, thank you for all the graphics that you did for us. For all you people that don't know David Oldfart is our graphics guy, and this guy and that guy. Riz, as always, it's a pleasure. My Fuentes Opus 1 was a beautiful. I'm still smoking it. In fact, I'm still liking it so much. I'm going to take this to the Lost Dollar Business Club, which we're doing next. So for you people, it's Saturday morning. For us, it's another morning. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're watching on a if you're listening on a podcast, tell your friends. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to tell your friends. And just so you know, the #1 search word for our channel last month was cigar. So we will put cigar in this as well.
It's been my pleasure, Stephen, as always.
Good.
I'm
good
honored.
to see you, my friend. I will see you next week, my friend. Enjoy, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you all soon. Cheers.
Yeah.